Hey everybody, welcome back to a very unique episode of Album Fight Club. Yeah, I said welcome back. That's all right. We're going to get some weird vibes in. Mike is currently on vacation at I think he's acting in Halloween Horror Nights, which is hilarious. We're talking about I think maybe his least favorite style of music today. Um yeah, emo music. And actually I have a very special guest with me. Um my dear friend, occasional bandmate, someone that I find a lot of inspiration with, Mr. James Uzzel. Jimmy, how are you?
Woo! A studio audience cheers. Woo!
It's
We
like
love this
one.
guy.
It's that one
Can't believe
guy
he's back. Yeah.
from Married with Children who has that really recognizable laugh, and it's like, how are you in every episode?
Yeah. How's he doing? We like that guy.
Yeah, how's he doing? I want to know what he's
Bring.
doing.
Yeah, we like
Yeah.
that guy.
Oh, he
How's it
died
going?
of COVID.
Oh man, don't we
Yeah,
all?
yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, well, good, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, it's nice to see you, man.
Of course, it's nice to see you as well.
That's
And it's
awesome.
nice to see you on this audio medium.
It is nice to see you. For the people at home, I can see Jimmy and he can see me, but you can't see us, which I think is that's like a violation of some kind of right, I guess.
Yeah, and after we stop recording, I'm gonna go make all my Instagram accounts private, so you can't see me there either.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Today we are talking about I guess both of ours maybe top 3 favorite bands of all time. A little band.
Yeah, if all three were the same one, absolutely.
Yeah, a little band project life initiative called Into It Over It. Jimmy, do you want to talk about Into It Over It for a second before we get into the episode?
Yeah, yeah. I like that band a lot. As I spent the better part of today listening to the entirety of the discography, realizing I knew every single word to every single song across every studio record, I was like, dang, I think I'm a fan.
That's fair. Yeah. So,
You know, it's a band that is out there that has shaped every musical decision I've ever been a part of without consciously realizing it. Whoops.
that's totally fair. So for those of you listening who don't know, Into It Over It is it's like the kind of life project of a man named Evan Weiss who played guitar and bass in a couple of bands, and then when he turned what 20, 26, 27.
Well, before we dive into that, my question is, on this podcast, would you say your listeners are more heavy leaning or cross spectrum leaning? Because
So
I feel
we
like depending on that answer depends on which Evan Weiss project you say he's from.
so we've got a pretty wide berth of listener, but it started off as a metal podcast, so we'll go from the
Okay,
metal leaning side
I
of
was gonna
things.
say, yeah, then this is your takeaway with what Evan Weiss projects mean to you, or which ones he's done adjacent to that.
Yeah, he played bass in a band called Demira on
Yes.
on a record called I forget what the second Demira record is, but I don't think he's on the first one at all, which is
I don't think
Music.
so.
Yeah, Music.
Isn't he on the
That's
yellow
it.
one?
Yeah, yeah, and then I think the other one's like it might be like Quiet Mouth, Loud Hands or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Evan
Uh,
Weiss from Into It Over It because I
so
in
do you
high
know him from it?
school.
Do you know him from Into It Over It? Do you know him from Pet Cemetery? Do you know him from There? Do you know him from The Progress? Do you know him from Up, Up, Down, Down, Left, Right, BA, Start? Which band do you know him from?
So I think the listener at home might know him from either Into It Over It, maybe Pet Cemetery, or the very funny There, which is a band that every time I try to listen to, I just can't get into.
Mm,
It just doesn't happen.
wrong answer.
Ah,
Uh, all right, Sword. The only There appreciation or slander I'll accept is the facts, which is that
that's
Mike
rude.
Kinsella was the drummer. Take that as you will.
And then for some reason or another, he stopped being their drummer.
Yeah, exactly. So whether you like him or not, just know the fact is Mike Kinsella was their drummer. Take that as it is.
That's how it goes sometimes. You have a drummer, and then that drummer ends up not being your drummer.
Yeah, because his band is a little bit bigger.
For those of you who don't know, Mike Kinsella, he has a band called Owen, and then also he's got a band called American Football. And if you were clued into any sort of even vaguely underground music, you've probably listened to the American football record and then listened
Hey,
to the second one and said, wow, this is really good. And then got to the third one and said, this is grating. Can we stop making this
you got to
music?
the third one and you said, "Hey, Haley Williams, what the heck?"
He said, how did we get the gal from Paramore on here? This is crazy. You guys have this
Not
much
to
throw?
backtrack, but this podcast is called "Burying the Lead," right?
Yes, yes. This is not album Fight Club. This is burying the lead. Uh,
Yeah, we're here to talk about uh, there's first record. Nothing
we're
else. Mike Kinsella, famous from there.
this is the 52 weeks podcast. Thanks for listening.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, hell yeah.
but so Into It Over It is a project kind of led and created by this man named Evan Weiss, and in my opinion, might be the single best of all of the modern kind of like emo and like emo adjacent music. Um, just from the sheer output of his catalog, starting with an idea called 52 Weeks, which is one song a week recorded, mixed, and mastered, and then released for free, going into a series of ideas. So he would do the project called 12 Towns, where, just like the name states, he would went to 12 towns and recorded 12 songs at 12 different studios. And then culminating kind of with a record called Proper, which if you were alive whenever people had like thick rimmed glasses, Proper is really funny because it's a proper record, right? It's like a cute little bit. And then from there, a series of incredible splits. I actually heard Into It Over It the first time from his half of the Koji split with an artist named Koji, and
Which,
heard that.
if we're gonna talk about the reason not the story or the reason, I guess, but that split existing is also the reason that Stay Ahead of the Weather exists. Like
Yeah,
that's awesome story there. That's a great situation there.
yeah.
I mean,
The Evan does not know how to rest. It seems like as he's gotten older, I think maybe his brain has just kind of slowed down, and he's
he
like, I
bought
need
an
to
old pickup
actually.
truck and got engaged. He's chilling now.
Yeah, he was like, I'm selling my van. I'm done. I'm done making these real crazy riffs. I just want to be consistent with the output, and there. I don't know how big the Into It Over It fan base is, but it's got to be big enough to justify selling records through a private label that are then shipped to you
From
through a
his
subscription
house.
service. Yeah, yeah, they ended up
It's
buying a
like,
recording studio.
yep, their Patreon world. Storm Chase in its entirety is like a bizarrely operating machine because they also recently put out a friend of ours record, Jimmy Montague. They put out the double LP. It wasn't a double LP as a release, but he put out their latest record and the one prior to that on a double LP through Storm Chasers. As just a part of the Patreon thing. If that was a fucking, if you paid, can I curse on here?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, as
If
long as
that
it's
was,
nothing crazy.
yeah, oh, I know, yeah. Just
Yeah,
like the stuff you were saying before we started.
right. Yeah,
Um,
for listener at home, it was just a series of like beeps. It was crazy.
yeah, yeah. He just kept saying beep, and I was like, dude, you can't say that.
Cody, stop.
Stop beeping, bro.
Stop beeping,
Um,
dude.
yeah, they put out the Jimmy Montague record, and if you were part of the Patreon, that's just the thing you got that month. It was like a really badass record from there that they can fund because of people who support the Patreon. It's a really cool thing. That's
Yeah,
something only
and
a good emo band can do.
yeah, so that's the kind of level of care and consideration and community that we're talking about. And the two records that we're actually talking about today are. So would this be second and third, technically?
Yeah, I don't count. 12 Towns wasn't a full release technically until it was assembled as a LP, if
Right.
that makes sense. It was just splits. It turned
Yeah.
into an LP, to my knowledge. I could be incorrect, but like I don't think it was intended as. I don't know actually. Maybe I don't know. I don't know enough to refute that. But I know 12 Towns wasn't initially released as a full LP. It was retrospectively released as an LP, I think.
Yeah, for you music
So this would be
historians
the
who
second first, second, proper intersections, etc.
yeah. So the music historians at home who skipped over like 2009 to 2015, there was this absolutely unbelievable resurgence of like split EPs where, you know, a band would do a song and then they'd collaborate with another band and they would release just like a 7-inch. And it was a very weird thing that for some reason not enough people do now. There are a couple really fantastic splits that exist. One of them being, you know, the Into It Over It Koji split. The La Dispute Touche Amore split is incredible.
Oh, and
There's a
then
very
if you want to talk about spritz, you want to talk about a famous spritz, the Aperol.
I do. The Aperol spritz B-sided with My Hangover. But so, yeah, we're talking about their second and third record today, which is very interesting because you get to the end of Proper, and Proper is a proper record. So it flows like a record. Every song on it kind of fits into a theme and kind of like, not necessarily a narrative, but you can tell it was assembled as a entire collective ideas together. And then from there, Evan had this really interesting period where everything he did had to have like a purpose or like a bit. And so on Intersections, which is the second Into It Over It record, everything was played with fingers. So all of the stringed instruments was finger picking, finger plucking on the bass. I believe the drums were just normal drums, right? Because it'd be awful.
Yeah, he played with sticks, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be crazy to play all those parts with just your hands just slapping them. Nothing but rim
I'm
shots.
sure they did some slapping, but it wasn't intentional if it was just slaps.
You know how it goes.
Coincidental slapping, you know how it goes.
You just slap. You mic up a slap. This is gonna be a
look. When you're in the stew, you gotta mic up a slap.
You gotta mic up a slap. You know how it is. Whether it's like a vibraphone or
Mike is already reverb. There. You know, if Mike is already there, you gotta do the slap.
You know how it is. If your friend Mike is there with a mic, you're slapping it.
Look, if Mike Squared is there, you gotta slap.
If Mike and his cousin Ike are there, guess what you're doing?
Yeah, you gotta eat snacks.
You're snacking and slapping. That's how it goes.
You gotta snack and record a slap. I don't make the rules.
That's okay. You know, sometimes you just gotta diverge from the really expensive burden of going to someone's the expensive burden of going to someone's house and saying, if I give you money, can I play music here? And then they go, I guess. And then you end up living in their driveway for a week.
Yeah. Man, you sure know how to land a plane. I love this. All right, what were we talking about?
Yeah. So today we're talking about Intersections and Standards. Into It Over It's second and third record.
Oh yeah, so Into It Over It. With Intersections, the bit was playing with fingers.
Yeah.
That's where you were.
Yep. And then Standards. To the best of my knowledge, Standards is it's all analog. Right?
Yes. That was an entirely analog record, but the initial bit for Standards was that all the songs were going to be written in standard, which they quickly deviated away from.
Oh.
Yeah, that was originally why, to my knowledge, is why it was originally called Standards, is because all the songs were going to be in standard, which I don't even know on the final product what songs actually were in standard, because I know it wasn't all of them. It wasn't really many of them.
Probably none of them.
What a good record.
If we're being honest. Yeah. And so, it's so
to have a bit like that and then immediately fail, but keep the name.
It's hard to send it, but when you finally send it, you have to answer for the rest of your life that you admitted to doing this. And
maybe just don't explain why you called it that.
Yeah,
because then you wouldn't have two guys in the Southeast ridiculing you.
You wouldn't have two people, one of them who has punished you relentlessly for the better part of 10 years, trying to get you to...
Please, bro, just let me just be, bro.
Evan, come to my show. We're playing in Chicago. I
swear to God, bro, please, bro.
Evan, tell me about weed. No,
Evan,
okay.
Evan, can you help me with my homework? God, I swear to God, bro, your band is good. Bro, please.
Hey, Evan. What tuning is this song in? Oh, you're gonna read
Bro,
it, not respond? Thanks, bro.
Evan, how do I fucking invest into stock markets, bro? Evan, help me
And then,
out.
can you tell me about reverb.com? Thank you,
In the
Evan.
concept. Oh, bro, plate, room, hall. What the heck?
Speaking of Evan Weiss, ladies and gentlemen, Evan Weiss from Into Over It.
God, I'd kill myself if I were him and I
That
had to
would
come
be
on with that kind of walk on.
he's like sitting in the wing, but he hasn't been set the invite. So it's like he just comes on. He has no clue of what we just talked about for the last
Yeah,
five
this was
minutes.
just to him. He was just bidding on some like music gear, and it turns out it's a podcast.
He's on eBay looking at like Hank Aaron Jr. rookie cards, and he just gets a random dark web invite to a Riverside thing. Cool. So
Look,
Jimmy,
man, that's us.
Let me
Yes.
ask you a question. What's your relationship with Into It Over It? You guys seeing each other?
Well, it was a rough and rocky road, but we got there. I don't remember what year it was, but I do distinctly listening when I get in around Intersections, like probably 2013, like after it came out, but did not know what the hell it was. It was just a record that I was spinning occasionally, and it was a band that I was like, they're too complicated to like. Like I think the first song I listened to that by them was "Spinning Thread," and I was like,
Yeah.
that's a confusing song to like. Not that it was bad or
Yeah.
good to me at the time. It was literally just like, wow, that's a lot of work to enjoy that song. And I filtered eventually to the songs on that record that were more mainstream and more digestible, or I guess pop structured, and
Yeah.
got comfortable with that. But then I guess I don't know. I guess I got really comfortable with the Koji split and Intersections because when Standards was announced in 2016, I wouldn't say I was an avid Into It Over It fan, but I pre-ordered Standards. So like, it didn't absorb my whole life, but I was definitely on the lookout for Into It Over It. And then when Standards came out, I might have pre-ordered it when the singles were coming out because they were incredible.
Yeah.
But from Standards, like getting that vinyl and being a part of that release, that forward, I have consumed it almost every day. It has been the band that has, like I said, influenced a lot of decisions across all musical things I've done since then. But it's
Yeah.
weird because Intersections brought me in and I was confused. My first words were
Yeah.
like, huh.
You get to this is a level of music where if you've only ever listened to like plain four on the floor pop music,
Yeah.
this might as well be like Mozart. It
What
might
was
as
tough for
well.
me was that I felt like I needed an art degree to understand this record.
Yes. Yeah,
I
if
needed
you
to be
don't
six
only
figures in debt to really appreciate this record.
the thing about especially especially Intersections, some of it feels like I have to have like a Marlboro Red pack in my shirt. It's like that level of hive-mindedness in a way where
Sure.
it's like I have to live in a city to get this kind of but not
Yeah.
because of like city problems, just because of like I've got to park a van every day in a city, or like I have to walk down a
That
sidewalk every
record,
day.
I don't even know how that what that record makes you feel. I was describing it today because I know as you listen through that record, there's like each song had a story about it or something that you've come across over the years of listening to that band. I'd be like, oh, this one's about his cat. Like, let me explain this to my girlfriend. That like, I don't, I don't know what I was trying to get at with this, but Intersections makes no sense. Is the record that I entered in on, and it was like the artsy record. I don't know why it even stuck with me in the first place.
Yeah.
Like I'm just sitting here, spinning wheels in my head. Like, why did I stick to it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
rambling.
I knew 1,000,000% this is where it was going to go. I walked into this and said, man, I've got a 50-50 chance we're getting any kind of single continuous conversation out of this. Uh, uh, so what's really really cool in a way is that I found Into It Over It whenever I was living in Pennsylvania going to high school, and
Mm.
Into It Over It directly influenced my decision to whenever I moved to Myrtle Beach to get involved with like the local music scene, because so much of his conversation and interviews at the time with him were him really reflecting on his time like in Chicago
The New
as it
Jersey,
was,
Chicago music scenes, yeah.
yeah, being a part of the progress, being in like local bands and, getting really into like Sunny Day Real Estate and going on tour and a couple of the things that he touches on the 52 Weeks record. And from there, that really set me down a path of, you know, having a really intimate relationship with not only music, but like DIY music. Just the
Yeah.
idea of like, you don't need, someone doesn't have to give you money for you to do it. Like you can just get in a van. And a lot of the reason why I actually wanted to do this episode with Jimmy is because if it wasn't for Into It Over It, there was a 90% chance that Jimmy and I would not have met and become associated through music. And I occasionally play bass in Jimmy's band, which is one of the great gifts of my life. And it's all directly because of Into It Over It. And Jimmy and I have had many discussion about this band and the records and the songs, and actually have the record that follows Standards is Figure. And Figure means so much to me that I have the line work from the record on, like I've got it tattooed on me. So being able to tile this together and make it a full circle moment of being able to take something that brought me to not only a community of people, but also to a fantastic friend and then a musical partner, being able to tie it back to what I think what really sealed the deal is cool. So that's why we're talking about intersections and standards today.
Hell yeah. I could talk 2 weeks about Standards. I listened to it again today. So I told you like a week ago I wasn't going to do any prep. I was going to raw dog this episode because I'm so confident about my ability to talk about this band. But unfortunately, you opened the door that was me listening to this band for fun because I had to. I said, hell yeah, okay. So we had to drive to Columbia earlier today, which was like a 2-hour drive. And so on the way there, we listened to Proper and half of Intersections. And on the way back, we listened to half of Intersections, Standards. And we finished Figure because we kind of drew it out a little longer. Like we ripped through the whole discography and then started through Interesting Decisions, which is not a record.
Yeah.
But like it was all flowing in my head. I was like, oh dude, this is one, the best band in my life, like number one favorite band, but also Standards as a record. It's like, oh, like scratching itches and providing serotonin in a way that I don't think I can find elsewhere. And we can get some more detail about that as we go into it. But yeah, that was my realization today about Standards, was that holy moly. I mean, yes, Figure is, I think, my favorite record of all time. I think Standards is a close second because the way that whatever story is being told, which I'm never able to tell, because any song can be attributed to be like, oh, this is about this thing, and then it's absolutely not at all. Like, I don't know what the story is supposed to be, but the story that I associate to it has such a steady through line through that record. I can't listen to it in a shuffle. It has to be a front to back. Like
I agree.
That was my reevaluation today.
So,
but anyway, yes.
Do you want to talk about Standards first?
No.
Okay, because we need the palate cleanser of Intersections. We need like the appetizer of Intersections.
I guess when you present it like that, there's no good place to start, so you just have to pick one, unfortunately.
Yeah. So
I hate to say it. I mean, you got any coins near you? Are you a coin boy? I got a coin. You want to do a coin flip?
I can figure out what pick. Yeah, let's do that.
I have proper coins. Don't worry. I have a JFK. I only like dead presidents. I have a JFK coin.
You don't have a Robert F. Kennedy coin?
Commemorative.
That's crazy.
It's not in circulation. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I thought... I don't know. I guess I don't have time for coin humor. Anyway.
Give us one coin joke.
Well, I already said I only like coins with dead presidents on them, which is all of them, but...
That is true.
Yeah, I'm a big coin guy. All right, so heads is what?
That's
heads?
crazy.
Heads is standard. We all got wild. One.
Yeah.
Heads, everyone's got them. That's standard. Tails, that's intersection.
Yeah.
All right.
What you call listener at home?
Oh, this is I'm holding a JFK 1977 coin.
That's crazy. That's after he was murdered.
Yeah, weird they'd make a coin about it.
Yeah, that's fucking
Well,
crazy. Is
hey,
the whole
back to burying the lead. Am I right?
Jesus Christ?
More like burying a bullet in that dude's head.
Lyndon B. Johnson has some words for us.
He's also heard he had a schlong, which is that's the schlong poisoner, right?
That's wild.
Hey, it's not that kind of podcast. All right. The deal. I already flipped a coin through that.
Okay.
Perfect landing. It is tails.
All
Tails
right.
is in
So
sections first.
okay. Cool.
Well,
So
exactly where it was going to go anyway.
yeah, 100%. So to give a
Well,
little bit
well,
of
well.
to
Here
give a
we
little
are
bit of
back at the intersections.
here we are back at Finger Pick City. Second Into It Over It record. A very, very good second record, I have to say. It does not feel like at any point it is deviating back to the structure or any of the themes on Proper, which I really love. Because Proper, in a lot of the ways, is like almost just like a pop punk record, but with a little more kind of thought put into it.
It's a pop punk record if you're an emo purist.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's like an emo purist who, the Sunny Day Real Estate fan who made the record.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, if you said make a pop punk record, that's the record you would get from a guy who was growing up in the 90s.
Yeah, if you made someone only listen to The Promise Ring and then showed them Blink 182, that's the exact record that
Yeah,
would come
you were
out.
either gonna get more Blink 182 or this shit.
Yeah, and we are lucky. We are lucky
Yeah,
we got this.
yeah, because I'd be asleep at a reasonable time tonight if that
Jesus
didn't
Christ.
happen. I also would probably have a well-paying job and like I don't know, kids. I hate to
I,
say if Into It Over it didn't exist, I'd probably be more financially well off.
I probably wouldn't be so confused about where my friendships and loyalty lies if
I
everybody didn't love Into It Over It.
I can guarantee I would own a house if Into It Over it didn't exist.
1,000,000%. If I hadn't, if this white man with a good haircut didn't release these songs,
Yeah.
brother,
Well, here's the thing. It's like, because it's not like there were that many of them. Like, how
right?
many times are you going to say a white guy with a good haircut's going to come out and write a record? You know?
Let's be honest. It's usually a white guy with a bad haircut.
Hey, and that's why I think this one's special.
Yeah,
We'll,
yeah, that's
we'll be
why.
right back.
Thanks, guys. To our sponsor, Better Health.
Yeah. Hymns, grow your hair back, bro.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I guess we just have to start at the top of intersections.
Hey, is your
With
grandma dying over there?
no, that's my girlfriend's dog. His name's Skippy. He's a little
Oh.
Chihuahua. He is a nightmare. Anya, I'm talking about your dog. He is crazy.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah, Skippy's funny. He sometimes really wants to be my friend, and then other times, man, I am just like Lyndon B. Johnson to the Kennedy family.
Yep.
Yep.
Alive after you shoot him in the head. Anyway.
Why'd you kill my brother? Cuba. Yeah, so Cuba Gooding Jr., more Cuba
So true.
Gooding bad.
That was worth it. Good job.
That was worth it. That was worth it. When the ghost of JFK haunts me in my dreams tonight, I'm gonna get to look at him and go, "Hey, get this."
Hey, at least my
I made a
wife
joke
doesn't eat
about you.
sheet metal.
Jesus
those-
Christ!
No sheet metal. Anyway, we can't be in the zeitgeist right now. We're talking about
Yeah,
the emo zeitgeist.
we're talking about the emo zeitgeist, which intersection starts off with track 1, New North Side Air. Jimmy, how do you feel about New North Side Air?
Banger. To write a song that instantly just sets off the mood of like, we're at the top of our record. Also, shout out to Proper. Ended with the song that was the, let's slow down here. So
Yeah.
preface. Proper's the rocker. We all know that.
We've gotten too far into the bit, and now we're trying to backpedal into like just podcast material.
We've got 30 minutes to reel this in. Okay. So Proper's the record. That's established. Proper's a fantastic record. If you have never listened to it, do yourself the absolute pleasure of hearing it. Bangers, classics. But it ends with a song called Frames That Used to Greet Me, which is this beautiful riff. It's like the riff runs across in 4 bars. 2 bars are in 4. The last 2 bars are in 3. It's bizarre. You do 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 do. crazy. But the riff of that song is the same as the riff of the top of New North Side Air.
Yeah,
And Evan Weiss had said in his podcast that the reason, or the point of Intersections, because he was in his like real artsy moment, is that you could end proper and put on Intersections immediately, and they would be like together. It's one continuous piece of art, you know? Which I feel like
yeah,
kind of deviates the second you continue listening to it, but because it's such a separate statement. But yeah, New North Side Air, fantastic song. I think great opener. I think it has the energy of the same sort of energy that I would want out of a live set, just easily conveyed at the top of a record. Even though the sound of that record, compared to proper, is so much more like, I don't know, atmospheric. I'd
yeah.
say
It
Intersections
feels
is versus. It's a
it
lot more
feels
airy.
wider. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot more airy. There's a lot more space in like, I don't know. It sounds like the step up from proper based on the things that are being added to the songs. But fantastic song, I think, is in one of my favorites of opening of any record they've got. Although, looking back now, if you're making me think about it, I think one of the best things about Into It Over It is there is not a bad opening track on any single release that they have.
no,
Splits, records, anything. I feel like the opening track is so perfect every time.
yeah.
I'm just coming to that realization.
I agree. I think
Holy moly. Yeah,
what's
don't ask me about the first track because I'm going to say I love it every time.
what's really impressive is like in a way Evan Weiss and the group of musicians that he brings together for every release, he has such a great idea of how are we going to present this? How is the
Mm,
first 3 minutes of this going to be? And what landscape are we going to set? And so with Intersections, for example, New North Side Air has such like a spring feeling, right? If you get listen through Proper, and Proper feels like a fall record. It feels like we're winding down into the end of the year. Summer's already over, so we're maybe in like October. Where this, it starts, it's bright and it's airy, but it's not super like, it's not super trebly, it's not super bitey. It's just a
sure.
nice like, hey, the leaves are coming back now. It's cool. We can actually go outside
This is
again.
a record to bring home to your folks.
Yeah, yeah. This is
This is not aggressive, not intrusive, easily digestible tones.
if you could imagine, if you will,
Right? My
having
disbelief is suspended.
this is perfect. This is a record that you would want to make a Negroni and then play at like a party, but like an adult party where people are probably going to network.
I'm sorry, you
Not
had
one
me
where
at
like
making a groany.
I don't think we're allowed to say that word. Make a but yeah, it's
Wow! Do you edit this?
nope, nope. We have to have
Tentatively.
one. We have to have one per episode. That's a joke. Oh man, we're getting kicked off of our Spotify. So, but yeah, it's got I don't know. It's got this real sense of like it's a sense of realization that flows not only through this song, which has a fantastic energy, but into the second song, Spinning Threads. Yeah,
Dog,
which
that song, like I said, was the very first song I ever heard, which I was like, sounds like I need a proper higher education to enjoy this song.
well, so what's funny is in the context of the record, Spinning Threads is essentially just like it's like a breath after New North Sad Air. But when you hear it on its own, it's just very technically impressive in terms of
Yeah.
like it starts off with a super cool drum beat and then you're expecting it to go into like this real big thing, but it doesn't. It just like winds down into this really really nice little guitar lick, and then all you're left with is some unbelievable drumming, unbelievable
Yep.
finger picking, and a really fantastic use of layering throughout the whole song. And it's something that really, once it starts here, it carries for the rest of the record. Like every
It's a
song,
song that, like, it feels like, I don't know, it's delivering the experience of a four on the floor, like just boom, da, boom, da, boom,
yeah,
da, boom, ga, ba, da. It's very, like, nod your head worthy, but then you listen to it at all any closer, and you're like, ooh, that's that takes a lot of practice to make that kind of songwriting work or that the performance work. That is a tough thing to pull off. Even in every instrument along the way, except bass probably, but even then, fuck me, too hard.
Yeah. The what this song does really well, it actually Evan Weiss has a couple of really funny little things that he always returns back to. One of them is using "God damn."
Yeah,
It's like every other song he's saying "God damn," but he says it in a way to where it feels like someone who's never sworn before saying a bad
yeah,
word. And it's like, hey man, you just don't have to say this. Like you don't have to put
yeah.
this. No one's got a gun to your head, dude. You don't have to say "God
No,
damn" in
but we
every
gotta
song.
keep making what's her name, Tipper Gore. We gotta keep pissing her off.
I think Tipper Gore is dead.
Hey, hey, one goddamn for every song, just to keep Tipper Gore on her feet.
Tipper Gore trembles at the goddamn mountain.
I visit her grave after every record's released just to kind of work through all the cuss words I said.
I look at Tipper Gore and I go, goddamn. Yeah. So
So true.
yeah. But what's really fun is, man, it once again it carries this sense of kind of like spring air, like brisk air. That's every time I listen to this record and all these songs. That's what it feels like. Do you have anything else you want to say about Spinning Threads?
It was the first, I believe the first or second. No, it would have been the second song I learned a guitar by them. Because they did an Ernie Ball session where he walked through the guitar part of that song, and it was a very fun one to play. It's in a tuning very close to some songs I had already been toying around with for my band, so it was fun to like, I don't know, listen to a song that was sounded so intimidating and finding out it's just like a degree away from things I already knew. It's just
Yeah.
presented in a way that's so, ugh, like, oh damn,
Yeah.
that's technical.
This is a Into It Over is one of those bands where every song for some reason is some like wonky ass guitar tuning.
Yeah.
It's like
Watching it.
every song.
So the very first year I played Fest, we we happened to Into It Over. I played like 7 sets that weekend, which Fest is only a 3 day weekend. It is incredible to play any more than like three, obviously. But he had played an acoustic set over at CMC or CDC, whatever the little bookstore was in Gainesville, and he was running over after playing a set on bass with Annabelle. It was really cool because, in retrospect, I would have loved to have catched the Annabelle set in 2014. But anyway, caught him there, and his acoustic set was like song tuning, song whole step tuning, song tuning, conversation, conversation tuning, tuning, tuning. Like every song had had met with a pretty substantial tuning change. Which maybe that's a poor set list, right? I don't know. I'm not him. But it was fascinating because I was like, that's incredible that one, you remember all this. And two, you're able to be creative across different tunings in general. Pardon me.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating because seeing it live and him pulling it off and it still sounding fantastic was like a holy moly moment for me.
Yeah, it's very much one of those things where like I don't know how you continue to hold on to guitar strings. I feel like every string would be broken if I attempted to tune it 4 times in a 30-minute like
God, just
span.
get good then, because it is honestly not that hard. But
Yeah.
to remember where you're going, Cody, you might have a problem. You just got. Well, see, the thing is, when you tune guitar strings, you can go back down. It's not always up.
Right.
I remember,
Yeah,
I
no.
remember coming into a band practice one time, and you were trying to tune your bass, and you just kept turning it up and up and up, and just pop string after string after string. We did it 12 times. The bass is 4 strings. You did it 3 times. It was fascinating.
Oh man, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is an absolutely true story.
Yeah, and that happened
Yeah.
anyway. Spinning Thread, 10 out of 10. That's what
And that
song? Oh,
happened. On to the next one.
yeah. Up next. All right,
uh,
before you say what it is, I can tell you what the next song without even referencing anything, because if I'm not wrong, it's Curse Worth Believing, correct?
it is.
My favorite fact about the, not even fact, just observation about this record, Intersections, is that Curse Worth Believing has 1 minute and 7 seconds of just feedback at the top of the song. Just waiting. Right when we changed to the song, I looked at my girlfriend. I was like, "You ready for this?" 1 minute and 7 seconds. I turned the air, like the volume all the way up, and I was like, "Oh, experience!"
it's a
Witness
transcendent
me.
moment. It's well, yeah, because it's funny because then when the song starts, you expect it to like be worthwhile, and it is, but it's just
It's
we are
nothing.
there. There are like 3 songs on this record that they break away from like, man, we are just vibing. But what is really cool about Curse Worth Believing is that the way the song ends, it's like a bunch of layered vocals all on top of each other. And every time I hear it, I like the song, but then I get to the end and I'm like, I'm glad I sat through this.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I was noticing today, especially blowing through the for the most part, the whole discography, the whole like studio album discography, is there are a couple into it over it nuances that always cut through in a record, and
Yeah.
one of them that I absolutely adored and tried to incorporate ourselves into this record we just recorded for my band is the vocal rounds, the your bass vocal, and then your callback vocal on top of it, and then your third possible callback vocal on it, and all of which have harmonies. And it's like, it's this wall of vocals that they do. I even see it in like Pet Symmetry does the same.
Yeah.
But Into It Over It has at least 2 songs per record that are just vocal round wall of sound. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fascinating.
It's we get that, and slowly things are getting a little more interesting as the record carries. Because then the next song, Spatial Exploration, uh, it feels like a punk song, but like if the punk song like went to like therapy,
It's
like if
like
they
if
went on
it
a
went to
hike.
the art school in Columbus, Ohio. And it's like,
Yeah,
ah, yes, yes, yes. So you're in a cool town that is also still in the Midwest, but like you need to work through a couple things still, but also like you're kind
yeah,
of getting your shit together.
yeah. You're probably going by like a fake name, but not because you
Yeah,
have to. You're just like, I don't like my name. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you're like me, where, oh yeah, my name is James. James. Tee.
that's exactly what I meant. That is the
That
exact
is a
thing that
correct
I
way of
meant.
saying it.
Yeah,
I
just
saw
like
the
I
sign
broke.
you were holding it beside you.
This is crazy. Yeah. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Evan Weiss.
Yeah, I can't believe he's still just waiting over there. There's a lot of blood. I don't know if he's coming out.
He's sitting. He's on his phone. He refuses to look at me. I paid for a flight. I paid for his hotel. He refuses to look me in the eye.
Weird you paid for a flight and a hotel for an audio podcast.
Hey, that's what we call showbiz, baby.
Hey, look,
Uh,
I'm not my accountant.
we have a $10,000 budget per episode, so that's me blowing it
Yeah.
all.
Hey, thanks. By the way, yeah, I'll send you my wiring information afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna get $18 after what Evan cost me.
Yeah, 18 big ones. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, bro,
Um,
18 clams. Yeah.
spatial exploration. First off, I don't. I'm gonna just be the first one to say this. I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Who, Evan?
Because, I'm only gonna say, yeah, because to my knowledge, I thought the first commercial space flight just happened the other day, not in 2013.
You're telling me that Evan fucking Weiss was the
I don't
first
think he
man.
brings. I don't think he
He
brings
doesn't
home the
give.
big ones in order to do some spatial exploration. That's all I'm saying.
I look at him and he doesn't give me a real spatial explorer vibe.
Well, he's a nepo baby. Did you know this?
I didn't. Please tell me this.
You didn't know this? All right, here's the deal. I learned about this recently when I was on nepobaby.com.
That's crazy.
So Evan Weiss,
Okay.
he's the son
Right.
of grocery chain mogul. What why is Weiss is how it's said, Weiss grocery stores in the Midwest.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I thought you were gonna
Yeah,
tie this to like the potato chips.
his dad is John Grocery Store Weiss.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here from the mouth of babes. Evan Weiss, credible, lifelong DIY
Incredible.
musician, is
Incredible.
actually a
Better
nepo
place that. I
baby.
think it's incredible. Yeah.
We're getting sued. We are getting a defamation
Anyway,
slander lawsuit.
what's after the spatial song? What's after the SpaceX songs?
I don't know, maybe the best fucking song on this record with Favor and Fiction.
Okay, so first off, not true. Second
Crazy.
off, this song is about a cat.
I like cats.
All right.
Cats are cool.
And hey, and third, just like assholes, that's an opinion, bro.
Wow!
We are all entitled to them. We're all entitled to assholes.
That's
That's the
crazy.
saying. That's the
That's
saying.
it, someone who's a real big problem just heard this sentence and was like, you know what, that's cool, I'm taking that with me. And
Yeah.
in 10
Hey.
years we're gonna get to hear about this.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I just realized?
Oh,
That
what?
neither of us have said the name of the band that we play in, and I don't think we should.
Hey, that's cool.
I
I
think
mean,
we should
hey,
just
look. All I'm gonna say is, if you want to have to wait in line and struggle to buy tickets and see our drummers suck, um, then maybe don't see Metallica this summer,
That's amazing.
and you won't have to
Yeah,
run
we
into me.
have you ever yeah, we're actually friends with a guy named, George Harrison. You ever heard of him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that's
still
cool.
dead, but
We can't
actually,
remember. We gotta
George Harrison works down at the Home Depot near me. He says he
yeah,
played in a band called the Beatles, but I don't know, he's a little too young to be that.
that's yeah. I mean, you heard that here too, folks.
Yeah,
This is what
I
we're doing
play in
on
a
Album Fight
I
Club.
You heard that here, folks. I play in the band Metallica. We know a guy named George Harrison. Get over it.
We
Next
we
question.
we we are both Eric Clapton.
Yeah, hey, I also
That's
killed my baby.
shit.
What do you
I
want?
he killed his baby. I
Oh,
killed JFK.
that was the thing that people that once again this must be called bury the lead because they seem to ignore the fact he killed his baby.
You're telling me you get that high up into a fucking hotel
hey,
room and you just
hey,
leave a window open? Is that what
hey,
you're saying to me right now?
that's why they call him Eric clapped him. Am I right?
Oh,
Yeah, him being that
oh.
baby. Yeah.
Hold on, I just need to find something real quick. Give me a second.
If you were a loved one, need a
You're a loved
break, a
one.
breather, man, therapy, but I hear BetterHelp's kind of bad, so maybe don't sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to turn it to our sponsor, Better Health. This is so fucked up. Come on, just work. Ah, I killed it. I killed the bit.
Man, insert Tears in Heaven, and then immediately insert the Phoebe Bridgers song that says, fucking Eric clapped his ass, his baby had no chance.
Whoa! We're all addicted
That
to
baby.
cocaine.
Yo, honestly, alright, here's a question. Not a would you rather,
Sure.
but would you rather be that baby? Do you think you could survive a fall out a window? Or do you think that baby was just weak?
You know, I think that I am him, and that baby was not him. So
So
that's all
true.
I'm gonna say about that. That baby,
That's so true.
I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, I'll tell you this. If that was my son, I'd be disappointed. You telling me my genes fucking made a thing that flew out a window and died? That's
Yeah,
embarrassing.
I'd be like, these aren't my jeans, these are my khakis. And then I would go
Yeah.
put my Levi's on.
Yeah, no,
That's right.
my baby wouldn't die from falling out a window. My baby would have stood back up and said, round two.
I don't know if I can
I
post
mean,
this episode. I think we're getting sued.
I mean, look, Eric Clapton's too busy playing blues guitar and
He's too busy having really bad takes about some things that I don't think we can talk about in today's day and age.
so what's after
Uh,
this song?
Man.
Favor and Fiction is a banger. What's next? We gotta start ripping through these.
We gotta fly through this. All right, Shaking the Leaves, 100 words or less.
Super fun song to play on guitar. I think this is one of the most mainstream digestible songs on the record. If you're trying to make anybody appreciate this band in less than 4 minutes, this is the song to show them off of this record that I think will be like, hey, this is a competitive, creative band. Like they're creative, their original idea, but it's also like I could see this side by side on some radio songs that were acoustic-y like this, you know?
Yeah, it is mind blowing that at the time this wasn't like a number one song. Like I don't know if that's just
The fact
because
that
they
this
were
wasn't
like
a
we don't want
contender
to.
for anything, yeah. No, the fact that this wasn't anything, not to burst into a mainstream bubble, but to be like, I guess it's because we have a day to day. Now it's like you could be playlisted next to stuff that is, so
Yeah.
you'd be more easy to find. But Shaking of Leaves, I feel like, was making a statement, but was also like subtle, which it needed to be.
Yeah, and
Great
and
song.
we're still holding this line of like really smart, subtle choices that fit the flow of the record. And in my opinion, the next song actually is how I feel uh, about how you feel about Shaking the Leaves with Upstate Blues, because
Upstate Blues is a great song. I
it
think
blows my
I
mind.
think it is my favorite song on the record.
See, my favorite song is actually in a couple of songs. It's actually just the rest of the record. I'm kidding. But Upstate Blues, what I think is so good about it is it it's an emo song, right? And emo is no longer a bad word. It's just something that once again has been like kind of co-opted by people who don't know what that really means. But man, you hear the song, it's like this is a really adult song. I fucking love this song. It's
They
beautiful.
turn
It's
their
smart. It's
20s into
intelligent.
10s. It's like their 20s never end.
Yeah, yeah,
So that
and
song, the very first time I got to see that live was at that acoustic set down the fest, and that was the song where the crowd I think was the most active because during the whoa-ohs, whoa
yeah,
whoa whoa whoa, there was this kid doing his whoa-ohs, but he couldn't sing, and he just sounded like a dinosaur or something. He was like whoa, and like it broke all seriousness in the room, and it was really cool. It was
that's
like
awesome.
super. It felt like a super cool, like intuitive community in that room for it. I don't know. The
Sometimes
T Rex Woos were so iconic from that year.
sometimes you just get too lit and you really just want to yell at the top of your lungs, but then you realize that maybe not every song is meant to be yelled at the top of your lungs.
Unless it's that song in a bookstore, 2014 Florida, and you're about 15 PBRs deep at 3
Jesus
p.m.
Christ. If you have like a crust punk jacket, then every song is meant to be screamed at the top of its lungs.
Yeah, who gives a heck?
Hey, not me. So,
Upstate
okay.
Blues, 10 out of 10.
So then here's my next question.
Mm.
No Amount of Sound. How do you feel about it?
Ooh, appropriate. If this record could have a side C, this would be the beginning of side C.
I agree.
And to
I
put it in the back half makes sense. I've always thought this record was very front loaded,
1
and
million percent.
the back half, I always think the record's going to end sooner than it does. I love every
Yeah.
song on this record, but I always forget about the last three songs. Today was no exception because I was like, all right, this is the last song, and I was like, oh fuck, your antique organ still exists. Like
Yep.
we have to punch through these songs real quick. I forgot.
So this is
No
the
amount of
no
sound
amount
is
of
the beginning of me saying, how much longer is left?
so no amount of sound is the only song on this record that I think should not be on this record. It just like every
It'd
time
be
I
a good
hear
B
it,
side, yeah, yeah, yeah.
it breaks up the flow. And honestly, I feel like this should have been the start of the standard writing. Because it's like if you just took this song and you put it on standards, I think it would fit so much better. It's got that space, it's got the layer of depth to it. Just in terms
I'm
of like
normally I'm normally a yes and kind of guy. I 100% disagree. I'm also okay if this song was just an intersection B side released with like another song and just
yeah,
never acknowledged again. Because this song is good. I think No Amount of Sound is a good song. I think it's just independently good. I think in
yes,
a collection it loses its shine. And
yes,
unfortunately, like I said, when I get to that point in the record, I said, how much longer is this record? I have listened to this record probably 500 times. When is it over again?
yeah, yep. So
And it's not
when
that it's a bad song. Believe me, it's just that in the collection, it feels like it's too. You're giving me too much time to myself with that song
right,
for
yep,
me to
and
just kind of come back to reality.
yeah. And so then we get to the next song, which is a pair of matching taxi rides. In my opinion, that's my favorite song on this whole fucking record. I firmly believe this is something that Jimmy and I have discussed before. It's something I've discussed with all of my friends. Every good emo band comes from a very good post-hardcore band. And the way this song flows, it's just got that kind of like layer of heaviness to where it starts and you're like, damn, man, where did this like punch of energy come from? But it's not intense. It's just very musically driving. It's
Mhm.
musically intelligent. You can tell
I don't
what's
know if you can
happening.
see, I'm like playing the song in my head to remember which one it is. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I do forget because it's funny that you say that punch of energy because no amount of sound right before it is such a wall of sound.
Yeah.
It's like the first time I ever saw Cursive live, it was just in the face. Now they sounded like shit. They sounded
Yeah.
terrible when I saw them. They were the worst band of the weekend. But wall of sound is the same way in the same breath that when I saw Mets that same weekend,
Hmm.
just punch in the face. That was no amount of sound. Then to go in a pair of matching taxi rides, it's like that band grew up and wrote this song. The
Yeah.
band who wrote No Amount of Sound, changed their diaper and then wrote Pair of
Yeah.
Taxis.
And it's like sometimes Mike and I talk about this a lot on the podcast where when you listen to a lot like really heavy music, sometimes people just want to layer feedback and it's like feedback is
Sure.
cool, but man, I need something that's like a little more like potent. I just don't need a loud noise. I need it to be dynamic and
Yeah.
communicative for what the song is trying to do instead of like, yeah, fuck you, it's just heavy. Um
Yeah. That's,
yeah.
I think, the difference between like modern metalcore listeners and like last 15 years of post-hardcore listeners.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
And
you're satisfied with a constant 808. I'm satisfied with, oh fuck, they had an 808 on this record, like one single
yeah.
use, and it was the smartest decision to put it there to really convey it. Like that sort of
Well,
dynamic.
so it's crazy because in a lot of ways, the heaviest song from the last 2 years, in my opinion, ironically, was actually the most recent Weatherbox song. It's called
Mm.
Manson's Dust.
Bah, 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 bah,
But
bah,
the
bah.
but it's not about the way that it happens. It's about this build and it's the dynamic of we're starting off really slow and then we chill out and then we get into a riff, and when we hit the riff we are going to make the riff the heaviest thing that you've ever heard, but that's because you also had 2 minutes of vibe.
Yeah,
Not
you've built
if
the
it's if
world.
something is heavy, yeah, if something is heavy all the time, then is anything really heavy? You're just kind of stuck in this like
Mm.
constant. When you drop the floor out from me, I want it to feel important,
Hmm.
and that's
Uh,
ironically enough is
that
how
is
I feel
another
about
fantastic
obsessive.
song.
Yeah,
Another perfect.
yeah,
Manson Dust is one of those songs I have to treat myself to because it's a 5.5 minute song. I will listen to it all day. It is that
every
satisfying because it's three songs in one. It's three
yep,
sections and a lot of Weatherbox songs, which I could talk about that band all day.
yeah.
But
We'll have you back
that
on for
is
Weatherbox.
for sure. Yeah, that is a song that came out recently that I'm like, this has no right to come out this year because this has now distracted me from everything else that should have had its spot.
Yeah, yeah. I was doing a thing last year where I was trying to only listen to new music, and then when that song came out, I was like, I'm done. This is it. This is the end of music for me for this year because it just. I
It
mean,
has been devastating.
yeah,
The
yeah,
best
and
morning
it's
though to wake up to. I still very regularly will open up my Spotify and like check that for the day.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that was a because some people will say, "Oh, I'm Weatherbox now," and they'll upload a song and it's a nobody band just trying to take the
right.
name so it goes onto the main feed of these bigger artists. But whew, I saw an Instagram post coupled to it. Ooh. Anyway,
Oh,
obsessive compulsive,
very good, very
fantastic.
very good song. I love the shaker. Sometimes you
Yeah.
just need a little bit of a shaker in your background, you know?
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about this song. I think it's a good song. I think it is exactly where I would put it on this record because, like I said, you're already front loaded. There are not any more. You don't need to end the record like a record like this with rippers. You just
Yeah.
gotta kind of either keep the motion or I don't know. Once
Well,
again, I have to reiterate because I'm struggling to find words for it because I have to reiterate. At this point, I'm still wondering: is this the last song?
yeah. Yeah, and it's really funny because sometimes your record doesn't have to be your record every song doesn't have to be perfect, but
No.
as long as they flow in terms of what you wanted to make, the
Mm,
integrity of the project is there. I think that makes
mm,
a project overall even better. Cuz
yeah.
you go from this into your antique organ, and this even feels a step above kind of anything else that comes on this record. Just in terms of like the craftsmanship of this. This feels like this feels like it should be song 2 on Figure in a way. Where it's like, hold on, what how did this happen, you know?
Wait, for your antique organ?
Yeah.
That's a wild take. Not to be. Are you open to pushback?
No, of course.
Okay. I disagree. Great song, great riff, great song. Uh, is a track. If you're looking at a 12 track, it is a track 11 all day.
You think so?
Like that is a you are getting close to the closer. You need to like start. This is you get your shit together because we're about to find the door. That's kind of how I feel about this song.
That's fair.
Just because it is so dynamic across it, but it's like I don't know. I've always described this song as cutesy. Like it's I know it's one of those songs capoed way up on the neck. You can hear
Oh
it.
yeah.
It is a super high
It's
pitched
up
song,
there.
but it feels like we're getting all the chickens back in the coop. We're like getting
Yeah.
ready to the end of the day. What are we gonna have for dinner? I don't know, but it smells like food. Don't know what it is yet. This is that kind of song.
This might well have been on a mandolin. That's how high up this song
Hey,
is.
hey, and that's what I say.
It's
I said that too. I said may as well have.
and we're back. We're back, boys. But yeah, yeah, just a
Keep
damn good
talking.
song.
I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna make a lot of noise at a distance.
No, you're good. So then the last song that we leave standards on, not standards, sorry, intersections on, is actually a song called Contractual Obligations, which very much is, in my opinion, maybe one of the top 20 best emo songs of all time. Doesn't
Oof.
hold on, hold on. It feels like because here's my argument. Imagine if you showed this
Remember
song
before you say anything else, just remember this song clocks in at 6:02, I think, or
right.
6:05.
Yes. But here's my stance. Imagine if you went to the person at your high school who was really into Bon Iver, and they you can tell they're on the threshold, right? Maybe they
So you
haven't
say on the
discovered
spectrum, yeah,
maybe they're on the spectrum of discovering emo. But they
yeah.
haven't they haven't found out about Sophie's floorboards. They haven't found out about like the Run for Cover YouTube or the any of the like Jade Tree records or stuff like that. And
Sure.
then you sit them down and you go, "Hey, I know you like Bon Iver. We've talked about Forema. We've talked about self-titled. You should check out this song. It's the last song on a record called Intersections by a band called Into It Over It. I think that'll be your gateway in. And I think some songs like this, they don't have to be perfect in the execution. They have to be perfect in the gateway.
Mm.
And this is a perfect gateway song to where you give this to someone and then maybe a month later they might really, really be into Mineral. And then from
I was
there
gonna
the
say
flood's open.
the problem is that's that pathway with this song is maybe the expectations are ill set because this band then doesn't proceed to make any other songs that sound like this.
That is very true.
So you just made a fan of emo, but you just now turned them into a single song fan of Into It Over It.
Who knows?
Not a bad thing, but it's also not productive towards the longevity of this band.
That's fair. But I mean, like,
That's like
okay,
saying, no good before noon is all of Into It Over It. It's like, well, you get yourself a nice little playlist, but you're not going to get yourself a whole day of listening.
yeah, but
But if you show them
think
more
of
of
the
like songs like Upstate Blues or New North Side Air, you show someone as a gateway of that. That is how you create a fan of Into It Over It, is by showing them more of a blanket expression of what that band is. But I don't disagree that it's an opening to emo. I just don't think it's if your parameters are Into It Over It, I don't think it's in your favor with a song like this leading the way.
well, I bet you could take this song and you could show somebody this song and the next day send them Raw Bar OBX 2002. And I
Once
bet
again, not an Into It Over It song.
no, I know, but an emo song.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you
Just don't tell them it's a cover and they'll love it.
right.
Don't let them ever know that there's an original that is a lot different.
That's what I mean. Is it's like you could send that to someone and then be like, oh hey, also like there's a show going on at like this bookstore. You should come to this, and that's it's like a step in and a step in.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think for one, a fantastic closer is the very last place closer of any Into It Over It release for me.
I 1,000,000% agree.
I think this
Yeah,
is a great close to a record, but the worst close if you're going to put them all side by side. And not even worst. Worst is such a terrible way to phrase it. I think it's just the least good of the best closers that there are.
yeah. Do you think maybe like least compelling?
No, it's fucking compelling too. It's like, it is. It just constantly evolves. So that song, it's 6.5 minutes. It's like,
Yeah,
it is a constantly layering on. It's another one of the vocal stacks through the back half.
yeah,
You were building, and then stripping it away to where it all ends a cappella. Like the whole
yeah,
last 15, 20 seconds is the three vocals going at once, all running different lines, and like a little bit of the shaker for momentum, but after that, just a cappella ending. Like it's a great closer, but when compared
yeah,
to all of the other ones across the record, especially Frames that used to create me, like something that really buttons it up. Like this doesn't feel like, I don't know, maybe it is effective, but I don't think it's the best that there is. For this record, I think it is the best. There's no other song on this record that could have ended it. But yeah. I don't know.
yeah. And
To
it
compare it to others, it's tough.
what I think is really fantastic is, we've been rushing through as a joke, but what's really wonderful is
As
then
a
you go,
joke. I'll tell you a joke. Hey,
Jesus Christ, hit me with it.
knock knock.
Who's there?
Exactly, that's the premise. Alright, keep
Whoa,
going.
my God. So, but what's incredible though is you get from Intersections, which very feels a lot to me. It feels like a project where somebody had a a thought in mind and then said, "I'm going to execute every song with that thought process." Right, which is I'm going to play all these songs with fingers. It's going to sound like this. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to deviate and use the nuances and the kind of like standards that we do. But then you get to the record standards, which is the immediate
Okay,
release
so
after.
before we even dive into it, I have a statement. So, if we're gonna go just from release to release,
Yeah.
Proper is the record you need to put out. And I'm just gonna
Right.
say generally speaking, if these are your landmarks or your just goalposts, Proper is the record you need to put out as your first record, which is just the fucking it's capturing the point. Like, what is the point of what you're doing?
Yeah.
Proper is the point of what you're doing. It is generally catchy, uh, off tilt from mainstream, but original. Like kind of these three things that are essential to your first release. What makes it unique? Is it going to be digestible? And is it original? You know,
Yeah.
um, Proper's a record you need. Intersections is, I think, the record when you're putting out Proper. Intersections is the record you wish you put out. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
Intersections is like, fuck, man. I wish we could have maybe had. A record takes like 2 or 3 years to put out if you're doing it the way that most bands do it. Intersections are the songs that you're writing when that record comes out, when Proper comes out. And so,
Yeah.
like, it makes sense that Intersections is what it is because it's the artsy one. It's like oh man, well now we've already put out songs. People can listen to us already. We exist as a band in the zeitgeist. Now we're gonna craft up the thing that is like more towards the pillar of original. Screw the mainstream.
Right.
We've already put out something that's marginally that and original, obviously. But this is now here's our brand, which is what I think Intersections tried to be. Now,
Yeah.
Standards is the record that actually is that. Intersections
Yeah.
is trying too hard. Standards is the
So
record of I'm a grown ass adult. This is the record that I actually meant to make when I made Intersections. You know?
yeah. So I always have this stance where Mike and I will pick two records that are typically, very well received. And I always say that one record is the record where it's every song you know how to play, and then the
Yeah,
record that follows is every song that you wanted to play. Because through just development and spending time with your instrument and with these same people working on your craft, you're going to get better. No one
yeah,
starts you kind of end up better than you were at the beginning, hopefully. um and that's what standards is to me. It's like the culmination of this three album run of figuring out exactly where I want to sit at the end of the day, and
yeah.
how much fun do we want to have, how contemplative do we want to be, when we pull it back, how dynamic do we want to be. And it's
Mm,
every one of the nuances and like these hallmarks that Into It Over It does, right? You got these really
mm.
thoughtful songs. None of these songs are typical, right? None of these songs are "I love you" or "I hate you" or "Tonight's the only night of my life." It's a lot of big thought process stuff. In a way, it's kind of like, well, in a way, it's like high minded a little bit, because it's not
No, no,
just
no. It's so funny that you bring up the line "tonight is the only night of my life." I've been making that joke all week because we've been listening to these bands at home that I'm like, or the Ed Sheeran debate of like,
yeah,
why is this one of the biggest artists in the world? I was like, I don't know. We listened to one of his songs that came out recently. It's like, tonight is it. I
yeah.
exist for tonight. I can't love you tomorrow. I love you tonight. Like, some
Right.
bizarre shit. But
And
exactly
then
what you're saying. Yeah.
what's so incredible is then you dive into this like side of music, and it's not only this, it's stuff like Weatherbox, and it's stuff like Thursday, and it's stuff like Touche Amore and La Dispute, and on the other end, like Hot Mulligan,
Mm.
or Wonder Years. Uh, just give me a little more depth. I'm sick of like these depthless songs, these just like very same level
Well,
flatlining.
that's the funny part because I feel like the last few years has kind of brought those bands out. I think the Wonder Years has always been that. But I think Hot
Yeah,
Mulligan specifically has definitely been a. This is a band that only knows depth, so much so that it's excluding, so much so that it is the biggest band.
yeah,
Like they've gone to such an extreme that it's circled back to like being so accepting and mainstream to like, oh, because I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
right,
This makes it so much more general, even though he's being so specific.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and so you get to standards, which
Yep.
tonally is incredible. We're back to playing with picks, which is very
Yep.
nice to hear. It's nice just to
Standards
hear the pick of a
a
guitar pick.
is a record done with John Vanderslice in San Francisco. I do not remember the name of his studio, but John Vanderslice, I believe, is retired and does not do records anymore. And
Hmm.
two records that I absolutely adore were done by him. One being Standards, and the other being a record by his band Cataldo, which is a fantastic record that I found via NPR. But both
That's
records were
awesome.
done by John Vanderslice. Both records were entirely analog. If you own a copy of the vinyl, not a single bit of that process ever touched digital, which is a
Yeah,
cool, cool thing. Like even I believe the Into It Over It like cover is just scanned in. Like I could be wrong there,
yeah,
but like it's all cross stitch, so it's like every part of that process was analog. It's so fascinating.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, like you can even hear it on the very first moments of Open Casket,
Yep.
where it's like it's there because the cool thing about analog, and people will always talk about analog and Neve boards and blah 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 blah. It has just this layer of warmth to it that then adds depth.
It's
That's
like a nice
all it is.
bathrobe. It's like a cozy blanket. It's like it
Yeah,
is the layer of it is the temperature outside that just sets the foundation for the rest of it. It is such a
yeah,
uniquely its own thing. I'm not gonna say it's better or worse. It
yeah,
really I don't I just like anything, I think it has its place, but good golly does it add a lot if you're gonna use it to your
yeah.
benefit.
And what I think is so wonderful about standards as well is, like I said, this is what you want to play. You are no
Hmm.
longer fighting with not knowing how to play it. You have reached the level of ability to create this
Yep.
music, and this whole record feels just so much more developed. It feels like he really said, I'm done messing around with gimmicks. Like, I don't want it to be, oh, this was the record, so it's proper. Oh, we played
Yes.
with fingers. This was, I'm going to write songs now.
Dude,
And the songs are going to rest on the merit of the song.
it's like he went in. This is speculation. I don't know. Intersections felt like you had to show something for what you're
Yeah,
doing. Like you had to fight for your place, and so you have to make this artsy record to prove that like we are a good band. Here's proof. Like here's me doing all this technical stuff with an angle. And Standard sort of feels like post like I don't know, like say Intersections your college record. This is the one realizing that life continues beyond the kitschiness of something, and like
yeah,
just because you're in a band doesn't inherently make it competitive or something to strive to like these certain heights for. Like sometimes you can just make a record that's really good for yourself, and I feel like
right.
that's what Standards turned into. Now, fantastic people brought along for that process because Josh Sparks is on the drummer. He's the drummer
Hmm.
for this record. He played with Minus the Bear, among other many other bands. Outstanding drummer. Vanderslice as well as the producer, and then I think Evan Weiss played damn near everything else minus the tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
Outstanding,
And,
like a
and
crew.
a huge difference on this record is, as a bass player, Jimmy and I play in an emo band together. This could be the standard for, all jokes aside, this could be the template for how to play bass in an emo band. When the songs pick up, how to do it, how to carry the song, how to dynamically dive in and out, make very memorable lines, but also how to sit back and be the root, be the beat, be the
Be what you
melody,
gotta be.
hold it down.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so,
it's like
you go
playing for the song, not for yourself. Is a lot of this what
right.
this record does.
Yeah. And you get to Open Casket, and it almost feels like it's an entirely different band. It's like we've really stepped it up on
God,
this whole song.
I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but casket makes me want to smoke. It just is the feeling of smoking a cigarette and it being
Yeah.
morning and it just being really nice out. Like a very like
Yeah.
I'm not stressing. This is just a moment of reflection and positivity and generally just good vibes.
Yeah. And
It's a fantastic
it's
opening song. Beats out New Northside Air all day simply just for the vibes.
yeah. And
Just for the
and
vibes.
I'm going to continue to harp on this. There's a layer of depth. Everything that is happening feels like it's in front of you. Nothing feels like it's flat. It looks like if you put it in front of you, you can see exactly where it sits. When you close your eyes, you can find out where it is foot in front of you. And
Yeah.
and this continues into closing argument, which
Oh,
I
fantastic song.
fantastic song. The drums in this song, the drum tone on this whole record is gorgeous. Somehow it sounds lived in, but it's like you can very much tell that someone took time and care to mix it exactly the way it is.
Well, these are those kind of drums that you're hearing across like your Beatles records and your
Yeah.
classic analog records that were iconic drum sounds for a reason. Is because they were actually them, sort of
Yeah.
barely manipulating tape. Like there's not a lot of effect other than that is the sound of a drum. Get over it, get with it, whatever it is. Like that is the sound of it,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
this is
this is where it lives in a context of a mix. Doesn't really go up or down. It just lives over here. Like that is what this record is kind of like with their drums.
yeah. Yeah, it's like they almost crafted everything else around the limitations
Yeah.
of the drums in a way. Where it's like, we got this done first. What can we do around this? But what's really cool about closing argument is it slowly gets like bigger and bigger, and then you
Mm.
finally get to this crescendo moment where, if I remember correctly, this is a song where he's like, "You are what you are," right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe.
but
You are
this,
what we are, what we are. Do 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 do.
yeah, and then you get this massive fucking ending. Like almost like it feels like he never let the release in a way from Intersections out, and this is the first time where it's like, whoa, dude, like we're back to ripping,
Yeah, why are we
because
ripping so
there's
much, buddy?
why are we ripping so. Let me ask you a question. Why are we ripping so much?
Hey, mind if
uh
we rip?
hey, John, can I just rip real quick? Uh, that tone, real ripper.
Yeah,
Uh,
John Evan Weiss. Yep. My favorite
crazy.
collab artist, John Allison Evan Weiss. Anyway,
Dude, we're gonna get assassinated. Um,
sorry you
and
had me
then
at you had me at ass.
Ah, man, yeah, dude,
Closing
huge
argument.
ending,
Banger second song.
banger. It's like kind of hard to imagine a better second song, but they end up doing it. Uh,
Because you get the
and
iconic
then
first single from the 2016 release cycle above Triple Crown Records Into It Over a Third LP Standards presents No EQ. Am I right?
no, no EQ is
Bing,
maybe.
bing, bing. Do you know the story behind the song?
I don't. All I ever think about is how insane those drums sound. And then Kyle was like, "These are really easy to play," and I was like, "Fuck
I hate
you!
to
I'm
say it,
not
they
like a
kind of
master class.
are.
I'm not a master class musician. I'm sorry that like I just wanted to play bass and then ended up making a bunch of friends because of it."
So, to my knowledge, this song is about the when the Progress got back together for the reunion show for the first time. This is a song about kind of that environment, that
Mm,
time period of them finally coming back after those years to replay those songs for a short little set.
yeah,
So it's kind
that
of a,
makes sense.
it's a song about the progress. Ironically,
Yeah,
it's a good song.
Uh, this might
Born
be.
too late
Oh man, what's the ending of this song? My aching brain doesn't process things the same. What
at
is it
30
with 30
muscle
muscle?
fades, but in 20 years I've barely changed.
That's crazy. That is such a good line. And then the cadence that he's singing it is so. It's like when he really, like I was saying, all good emo comes from really great post hardcore.
Mm.
He is fucking sending this, dude. And this might be my favorite Into It Over song. It's between this and Courtesy Greetings. And like, I don't know which one is better. Uh, but man,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is one of those songs that this was the first single, like I said, for this release cycle, and sold sold me on this band because like I said, I was teetering with Intersections, trying to have enough brain cells in my head to understand and how to appreciate that record.
Yeah. Yeah, this
This was a
is
song that felt like instantly uh, um, digestible for me as a more mainstream emo consumer. Like, No EQ is a great song. It's also fun. It's harmonics. It's quick drums. It's like it's formulaic in a way. It's what I wanted out of most emo songs in that time period. This is 2016. It was a great time.
yeah, but it's also technically appealing enough that if you're someone who's maybe into a band like I don't know, like This Town Needs Guns, you hear this and you're like, oh, that's cool. Like I get this, and I will check this out too. Like
Hmm.
there's a clear line from Minus the Bear to No EQ,
Yeah.
um, and then that carries also with This Major, because in my opinion,
I think my favorite song on the record. I would say
it's
this
a
is like
crazy.
competing for top three, but probably really competing for top two. This is one of those songs that just, it is a
Yeah,
punch in the face the entire time. It is
from
the
from
punch
the
in the face
beginning.
you've been waiting for since proper.
Yeah, from the beginning when those like compressed drums come in, and then it's like, yo, he is singing, and you're like, how come you never sing this good on like most anything else? Because he's carrying a really good melody. It's like it
In
feels
one
like
ear, and just, whatever
yeah,
he says.
he's like you are here, uh, but it feels like almost his answer to that whole phrase where it was like emo is dead. It's like nah, fuck off, dude. We're here.
Yeah.
We are here. You are here with us. Um,
In
anything
one
else you want to say
ear,
about
not deaf against the other. Like,
yes?
oh, love it. Fantastic. Great song. Honestly, for a side A, we're what, 4 tracks in,
Yeah,
I believe? Insane out the gate. I think this is already starting to feel top heavy
yeah,
because we're 4 songs in, and they've all got an impact. It is fun to see where this record goes in the center portion of it, because four
Yeah,
songs in, I forget where the flip is, but I believe it's 2 songs from now, which the next song is
Your Lasting Image.
beautiful song,
Yeah.
gorgeous song. This is a song to cry a lot to for
Oh
a
yeah,
few hours.
this is a it is just getting to dusk, and you have to drive an hour away, and you are alone in the car. So you're just gonna like roll the windows down, and you're just gonna like let this hit you. But what's so funny is it still has this, like, it's got a punch to it, but it's not busy. It's not huge. It's not fast. It's just a
It's just,
really
it's
well thought
nice.
out.
Not even mid-tempo. This is a slower, enjoyable, lovely tune.
Yeah,
Reminiscent of, I don't know, your No Good Before Noons meets like modern, not even radio, but like, I don't remember the artist I want to reference here, but it's like piano based. It's not a piano based song, but it's reminiscent of those like piano lullaby songs. Just
yeah,
beautiful tunes. Yeah.
yeah. And but what I really think is very interesting is you speak of that kind of, it's reminiscent of like No Good Before Noon, because then you get to Old Lace and Ivory,
I
and
think I think one of the top 3 songs on the record, just period. Not for the whole catalog, but I think this song lyrically is the one of the best. I think just instrumentally is one of the best. I think the track beneath it, the ones whatever the like whole production layer they have beneath this song is
yeah,
fun. Oh, it's amazing.
yeah. But what I really like want to showcase about this song, or put a spotlight on, this feels like a direct response to 52 Weeks and 12 Towns. With the compressed drums, it seems like he sat down and wrote this himself, and in a way, feels like Evan directly answering to like Mike Kinsella and Owen, and because it has a very Owen feel to it. Owen does
Sure.
a lot of this like acoustic guitar. You get a bass track underneath of it, but not like bass, but you know you get
Mm-hmm.
like a production track, and then on top of it you're playing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very subdued, very responsible in the way that every single opportunity in the song shifts. And when the drums come in, it's it's almost like looking back at all of your past curiosities, and then saying to yourself, I know where this success is, and so I'm going to go ahead and just make it happen, because it doesn't have to be busy, it just has to be interesting,
This
you know.
song just makes me feel like I'm walking the beach and it's 7:30 in the evening. The
Yeah,
sun's kind of set. You're on the East Coast. You don't get a beautiful sunset, but you're just like, fuck, what did I do? Like, I can't tell if something's wrong, but I just am generally feeling down and able to fix it. What
yeah,
did I do?
it
What do I gotta do? This song, especially, they put out a polyvinyl 4 track EP of, I don't know if it was a bunch of artists or not, but Into It Over put out a version of this
mm-hmm,
done on a 4 track, and it is unbelievable because the drums are replaced with like a stomp, like a knee slap
mm-hmm,
drum,
yeah,
and still the guitar, still it's 4 tracks, so you get 2 guitar tracks, a vocal, and the stompies, and I think that somehow proves that this song is still effective even at its most minimum. I absolutely stand by this song and this record and this band. Like, if you were
yeah.
to put a list of songs, this would have to be in the top 10.
Well, and what's so wonderful about Into It Over It, especially on this record, you can tell that even if you boiled this down to Evan and his guitar, these are still almost masterpieces.
Hmm.
Just the way that they flow, the consideration into what exactly is happening. You can make that song 40 seconds. You can make it 5 minutes. It's still
Mm.
as perfect as it is entirely. Um, but then we're kind of back. He flips again, and then we're back into big rock, with Adult Contempt.
Oh,
And
so before we dive into this record has one of the, at the time, the 2 extremes of this band in their entire history. So, Adult Contempt is the fastest song in the entire Into It Over It catalog.
that tracks.
I believe it's somewhere, it's either at 165 or 170. Like, it's clicking quick. And you can tell,
Yeah.
obviously, once it kicks in, it is a fast song. But also on this record, we'll get to it a little later, is another extreme. But Adult Contempt,
Yeah,
back at it.
this is the song where straight up I thought to myself, every good emo band is a stellar post-hardcore band. Because if you put someone like somewhat screaming over this would have
Oh,
been massive. This would be a totally different song, but like, man, huge bass licks, unreal drum work, the guitar's fucking killing it, Evan's killing it, and you can tell that this is the song that makes you want to go back and listen to the Demira record. It makes you want to listen to music because it's like, yo, you're doing this. What can you do when you're not being restrained by a vocal line?
yeah, this Adult Contempt is. I think it's funny too because now we're on to side B of the record. I don't, like I said, I cannot remember. I think it flips right before Adult Contempt
Yeah, I would imagine Old Lace and Ivory
because
ends side one.
just because I know that Lasting Image and Old Lace are perfectly, they transition into each other. I
Yeah,
believe that's where the flip is into Adult Contempt. And this is setting off, if you're looking at it as two pieces for a single record, this is side B. Like, all
yeah,
right, gear up, because buck the fuck up. This is happening.
yeah.
And so Adult
Well,
Contempt, I think, is the opening track that you'd want out of a band you've never heard before. You want someone to hook you immediately. That
oh
is the
yeah.
song for this side of the record.
Well, what's so funny about Adult Contempt is that in a way, it's like a secret. It feels like a secret homage to like Money by Pink Floyd, because you get to side B of Dark Side of the Moon, and Money is side B, and it's like, all right, man, we're done fucking around here. Like it's hit time, and you're gonna like where we're going with it, and just the way it carries, and then even into the next song, they
Which is
don't.
required reading, right?
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
like this is the section where he's like, I just want to fuck around. He's like, I'm a guitar center and I want to fuck around, and throw a mic on it because super cool piano. But man, they're playing that rhythm, which is super similar to like it's like 22 syllables. It's just that straight. You're straight, and then you're starting and you're stopping.
Well, this is another one of the songs that Into It Ever kind of makes throughout their entire catalog is linear drum stuff. I'm pretty sure this is another linear drum part that is just,
Yes.
if you're familiar, none of the beats hit at the same time. Like this is just the ever moving. This kind of reminds me of like gears in a clock, like clockwork.
Yeah.
Like everything has a thing that's going to happen at a specific moment, and then beyond that, nothing matters. Like this is just ever rotating, ever constant moving thing. And required reading
Yeah.
does that. But then it also gets explosive through the back half of like
Mm-hmm.
catchy chorus or, we listen to the song, you know what I mean. But, it's both of these things. I don't know, it's the first time you hear this on this record of something so cyclical. I don't know. I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe the visual I can see in my head listening to a song like this.
Well, it's like when you listen to it, you can very clearly understand where the path is, and then whenever they diverge, this makes sense in the divergence. Um,
Based off of where it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like it's not you're not showing off to show off. You're showing off to allow the person listening kind of get a hint of where we're going next. It's like you do
Mm-hmm.
one thing once and then you go, all right, remember that? We're going to do it again. So
Yeah.
be on it with us. And then when it finally comes, you get this little sense of like reward where it's like, man, that's so fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and to put it so late in the record,
Yeah, it's a wild
because
card because this was, I believe, the second single, I want to say.
yeah,
I'm not sure. I can't remember if that's true, but yeah,
yeah. And
phenomenal.
then,
Because I think the third
and
single was Fist Major. Correct me if I'm
ha- so,
wrong.
so how do you feel about Bible Black?
Oh man, today was funny listening on the drive home. I was like, "All right, girlfriend, this is the song with the funny drums." She said, "What?" I was like, "No, this is the song with the funny drums." Like they're mixed funny, and they're like they
Yeah.
sound. I'm like, it's because they sound funny. Because I couldn't remember the name of the instrument, but yeah, I think Bible Black is a very necessary song if you're gonna record a record and have it be all analog.
1,000,000%.
I think it is the same sensation of just watching an incense stick burn Like it is necessary. It's so
Yeah.
good.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of this song, but that's mainly just because there's a lot happening the entire time. And
Hmm.
what I appreciate most about this band is like it's something that you really like kind of try to instill in me is like when we do something we're going to do it because it's intentional, not because it's something we think would be cool,
Hmm.
because where is that going to put us next? It's
Yeah.
not like cuz like when Jimmy and I started making music together, I came from a post-hardcore band, so everything was loud all the time. Everything was at 10 all the time. And Jimmy was the first person to go, well, hold on, if we pull it down to 4, then when we do 10 again, that's going to be even more impactful. So like my issue with Bible Black is essentially it's like it feels like the song that you do when you have the opportunity to push all the knobs all the time. And it's like, all right,
Hmm.
do this, do this, do this, do this. And it's like, hey man, you're losing sight of what this needs to be.
For Bible
Yeah.
Black,
Yeah.
I don't know. Bible Black is like a two the whole time.
No, but I mean in terms of like all of the stuff that's moving behind it.
Oh,
It's like
sure.
you've got the noises coming in and out and everything like that. And it's like,
Oh,
just
I don't know.
calm
Maybe
down.
I think I got my appreciation from this because when subscribing to the Patreon, they put out there's a SoundCloud link for this song, and it was just the production track underneath. So it was just the world,
Okay.
not the instruments, nothing else. This was just the world beneath, like all the tape effects and stuff. And it made me appreciate the song because it made me think like, okay, this is all the stuff happening, and the song's not happening. Like this is the
Yeah.
movement. This is like watching water with oil in it. Like things are just going to happen. The ebb and flow of that is just going to happen. And the song
Yeah.
above it is obviously going to react to it like the water would. And I don't know. When you're thinking about the whole thing happening in real time, I feel like it's a fun way to appreciate it. Maybe after you've experienced it a couple times. Like out the gate,
Yeah.
Bible Black is a jarring song. But I think going back a few times, you could be like, okay, I get why, so many of these things are happening
Yeah.
aggressively, like the drums or like the track beneath or all the vocals on that song. Like, he's singing a lot on that song. It doesn't need to be. That song's jarring.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how, I can defend it all day, but I can also understand completely. So yeah, I don't know. Bible Black, good song. Weird
Yeah.
it's on the back half because I feel like it could have gone with the old Lace and Ivory section, but also like
I
if it
agree.
did, I don't think I would have liked it as much.
That's fair. I think it would have done too drastic of a shift.
Because after Bible Black, we get into who you are does not equal who you've been.
Yeah, I think
Is that
it's
correct?
who you aren't. Who you are does not equal where you are.
Where you are. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I've seen only the first three words on Spotify before it scrolls.
This song,
Um,
dude, kicks ass.
do, 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 do.
Let's be real.
This song is like, oh, this is just laying it down.
Yeah.
This is Sunday groove. This is
Yep.
just, oh, going on a walk. Got a
Yeah.
new
This
pep in my
song
step. Gonna listen to this song instead.
this song this song is like I got a new pair of shoes and I got to break them in, so I'm going to go
Yeah.
for a 4-mile walk like and just like the
Throw
way
finger
that
guns at everybody.
oh, dude, it's so good. The way the keys happen, the way they do that weird little like step down
But it
every
also does
single
like a
time.
beat flip halftime moment towards the mid end where it's like
Yeah.
keys are blaring. It almost feels like an ambulance in your face, and then it goes to
Uh-huh.
this like orgasmic moment of halftime where it's like meow, it's full
I
of sound, 70s rock band, and then
I
right
wrote in
back
my
to
notes.
panic.
I wrote in my notes. It ends up feeling like if Weezer didn't suck. Because I would imagine if Weezer was a good band, dude, it would be this. Like it's just it comes and when they finally give you the riff, and they finally give you the release, it's like yes, this is
Yeah.
good. I
This is one of
like
those
this. You
songs that I don't think a lot of people, if you've listened to it ever casually, I don't think you've heard this song. But holy
yeah
shit, is it a great song to explain this band?
yeah. Well, because it's so funny because it starts off as like it just feels weird. It's like, yeah, why am I going for like a picnic? And then out of
Hmm.
nowhere, someone at the picnic has rolled in like a Marshall full stack, and you're like, what the fuck is this thing doing here? But then
Yeah,
they start playing, it's like, this is cool, I'm about it, I'll take this.
yeah, great song.
Yeah, and then so from the riff we go into, maybe in my opinion, the
Anesthetic?
low point. Yeah, the low point on this record, I think.
Dumbass. Disagree.
That
Uh, so
crazy.
back to extremes. This is the slowest song in the entire Into the Orbit catalog, in at 60 BPM.
That's amazing.
60.
I just
Recorded, tracked at 60.
So every time I hear this song, the only thing that I can think about it is that it's the Into It Over Weed song.
This is the one, yeah, you're face down on a carpet, just kind of like absorbing into it. This
Yeah,
isn't supposed to be. I mean, every move makes sense throughout this song. Like, it all happens when you think it is. There are no surprises in this song. But
yeah.
good golly, is it still bringing something to the table?
Well, sometimes, like I was saying earlier, sometimes that's what you need.
I
So you just
actually,
need.
I believe this was another single.
That's
I
crazy.
think this was another single for this song.
We also have to talk about the at least one of the two B sides to this. Um,
I listened to this today as well because I said if you're gonna listen to standards, you gotta listen to the B-sides.
Listen, dude.
Anyway, Anesthetic, great song. I think necessary for a second to last song based on what the last song is. If this were any other song at the end of the record, I don't think it would have worked.
I agree. I think this is my least favorite song on this
You've
record.
already put out the fire. This is the
Yeah,
this is the ashes smoldering a little bit. Like this is the end is around the corner.
yeah, yeah. You are at the end of the haunted house. You've got like one more room to go through. You know the credits are about to roll. You can tell people are picking up popcorn. Um,
Yeah.
but then what I really really love about standards in particular is you get to the circle of the same ideas. And to me, this is where I made the assessment that this feels like the final. We're figuring out where we're going song
This
because you get
is
to
the most adult ending to any record they've ever put out, period. I
yeah
think this is straight
yeah
up, I think, the like magnum opus of closing songs for any record. And I love every record by them, but I think this one buttons it up where this does resolve. Like it
yeah
is a resolution to the record, to the statement that they've made across the record, or even just, you know, a song front to back.
yeah.
I don't need any more after this song is ended because you kind of laid it all in front of me.
the the only thing that I think really really hurts that argument is I think A Light in the Trees might be
We ain't there. That's a different day,
t-
brother.
that is
That's
true, but man, it's
that
like, but you
song is
listen to
just
this song.
experiencing a car crash. I played it at full
Yeah.
volume today with a bass a little boosted. I said, "Hey,
Oh,
this is what it's like if I punched you in the face."
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's jarring, but it's like for some reason, at least that song is just like beautiful, and that's what I like about this is where, in a way, this feels like Evan burying all of the wants. Like this was his. Now I can play what I want to play,
Sure.
technically, and this is him going. All right, the next one we're gonna do. Every single choice is gonna make sense. If this is close to a final product as it can be, and it, you know, after doing my listening for standards, I have a newfound appreciation. I love this fucking record now.
Standards is incredible. It
Yeah,
goes figure standards for me every single angle. Like any conversation
yeah,
that comes up, figures number one, standards is 1.5. Like it is
yeah,
1.25. It is as close to one as it is, you know.
yeah.
That is just what
And
it is.
to end this record on the circle of the same ideas, knowing what we know now, where we're going to go to figure next, it's just like I know
Dude,
the map.
if
I
the
can see
band
it.
broke up after standards, I get it. Like you
Yeah,
said what you needed to say, but also it was effective in three records. Like
yeah,
three full statements were made, and I think they were independent from each other and effective.
yeah.
I love it.
But
I think standards is the standard of storytelling in a record, which is like highs, lows, discover your own ebb and flow for the narrative you want
yeah,
to set. Also have a narrative, I think, is important.
uh, So important.
Do
Don't
I
just write
do I
12 songs about
understand?
12 different things.
Do I understand the narrative of standards? Not at all. Like I really don't, but I do understand that it is connected sonically enough so that
I've
probably has enough story within it to follow if I deep, you know, wanted to build my
I've
own
always felt
angles.
my story about standards has always been I've always felt like it's someone going through their grandfather's like attic.
Sure.
You know, it's just like you're stumbling upon a person who you only know from one side. You're looking at the rest of their life, but they can't tell you about it. You can
Mm.
only piece together what you are experiencing in real time. And in that being said, actually, I don't think Intersections has B-sides, right?
Nope.
No. So what's very funny is Standards has two unbelievable B-sides. So good. One of them should be, in my opinion, should have been released as a split with Sunny Day Real Estate. That's how good Centrifugal is. And then what's the other
All
one?
right, hear me out.
What's the other
So
one?
first off, centrifugal. Second off,
Yeah, that one.
2020. 2020 is a funny song because 2020 is like not literally a sister song to this major, but like it sits beside this major in my head, and
Yeah.
it is so in recording they had an original ending for this song that wasn't just the sleigh bells and the whatever, but in the recording process or something, Vanderslice like straight up lost the ending of that song. It just got trashed and they couldn't. It just didn't exist. They recorded it. It was a big, massive rockin' ending for that song,
Yeah.
and something happened where it got destroyed. And so they had to go back in and with I think just Evan, like they had to record a new ending for that song. That's why it builds up to this big moment. And then it goes
Yeah.
keys and sleigh bells, man. And just a vocal round. And I think that is such a way smarter end to end that song. Like I think it is
Yeah.
so it's so considerate for what the rest of the song was.
Yeah.
That shows that like, oh wow, you really know what the word restraint means.
Yeah.
You don't have to just punch into my throat the entire time for 4 minutes. Now,
Yeah.
centrifugal. That is a world. If you said, "Hey, what if Into It Over it was butt rock?"
That's a crazy idea. That's bonkers.
Hey, what if I guaranteed Evan Weiss said "bro" every day? That's centrifugal. Now, I love centrifugal. I remember the first time I was listening to it was in 2020. The Patreon did that month they'd shipped out the B-sides, and the perk was, since it was a 7-inch, every person got all three variants, which is a white, gold, and
Yeah.
black. And one of them was signed of each of that and the Canada sessions, all variants of that as well. And the first time I had heard centrifugal, I wasn't sure if my record was set to the right speed. I was like, is this a 33? Like, why? 45 sounds weird too. Like, what the fuck is this song about to be? And I heard it, and I was just laying on my carpet, like, oh my god, I get why you didn't put this out. And then,
No.
like a week later, I listened to it again, and I was like, no, I think I get this. But then it took them like 2.5 years to put it on the streaming after they
Yeah.
put it out through the Patreon, which they initially said they were never going to put Centrifugal or 2020 on
It's
streaming. But little did they know, fucking Triple Crown Records had put 2020 on SoundCloud back in 2018, and I had been listening to
yeah.
that song already.
Jimmy, it is centrifugal.
It's centrifugal.
It's centrifugal.
No, listen to him in the song. It's like in centrifugal force.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No, but
it's
the name of the song is centrifugal.
yes, centrifugal force. It's pronounced
Centrifugal.
it's pronounced centrifugal.
I guess. Is it
I will
centrifugal? Oh,
throw
yeah, I
up
guess it is.
on cam.
You heard it here.
Hey, look,
You heard the vague vomiting sounds.
look, I'm no king, but I will die on this hill.
That's insane. No, I think centrifugal or whatever how you fucking pronounce it now. Now I'm goofed. Jimmy, pronounce the word for me.
Centrifugal.
I think
Just
centrifugal.
always put the word force afterwards, and you'll
Okay.
land it. You'll land it.
I think this C word name.
God, I thought that cunt was pretty good.
Oh, this is the Man Podcast. Every time I hear this song, I am slightly heartbroken that it's not on the main record because I think it's just a level of kind of like rockin' that they don't ever really kind of go back to.
We'll never, yeah.
Um,
It's not something we'll see from that
yeah.
band again. I'm okay with it too. I think it's really, it's such a flex to do it so well and never do it again.
Well,
Kind of
that's
a
kind of
fuck
what I
you to the bands who do sound like that because they've kind of
that's
done it so well.
that's what gets me is like you hear this and it's like this was perfect. You're never touching this again. Man. And that's why I suggested that it should have been a split with Sunny Day Real Estate, even if it was like
Sure.
just a 7 inch, because it's like this song is so good. This could have been on How It Feels to Be Something Gone,
Yeah.
or like, man, just or The Rising Tide. It's like you really nailed the exact influence that you sat for.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact, though, that instead of resting on their laurels and being like, oh, hey, this is what we loved, this is what we've made.
Mm.
And the world we're going to give you is what we want to present instead of what we aspire to be.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
goofy. Well,
that's crazy.
hey, guess what? That's music.
Hey, that's it. That's Into It Over It.
Hey,
Uh,
hey, you had me
hey,
at over it.
hey, you had me at Into It. Um, yeah, Jimmy, thank you for coming on the podcast. I told you this was going to take an hour. I lied
That's all right.
extensively.
That's all right. My girlfriend texted me and said, "Hey, are you done?" And I said, no response because I was talking about my favorite band instead.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. On a side note, is there anything you want to plug to the 7 people who are going to listen to this?
7 of them. Well, let's see. First, you gotta go out and vote. You gotta go
Please.
vote. I don't care for what presidents, your local law. I don't give a shit what you vote for. Just do your rights.
Yeah.
Secondly, I don't know. If you like rock and music, you can find us at places. I'm in a band. I'm
Yeah.
not really gonna say the name of it though, because I think it'd be funny for the challenge.
I I am also sometimes in a band, and maybe you'll see us all together sometime at the end of the year or next year. Who
Yeah, I don't
knows?
know. I don't know. I just recorded a record entirely by myself and a friend of mine in New Jersey for this band. Because it is my little baby boy record band that I do records
Yeah.
for and played a band for. And it's really cool. And it'll come out probably next year at some point. But yeah. Anyway,
Hell
check
yeah.
us out. It's a band called Tornaforte. Tourneforte. That is Tornaforte. Find us.
Yep.
Or don't.
And you'll get
There's no pros to
yeah.
finding us.
You'll
Exclusively
get to see
cons.
me you'll get to see me play a bass that I just bought, which is nice because I had to sell my old bass, which is freeing. It was freeing to be instrumentless for a month.
Damning.
I didn't have I didn't have any obligation to
Oh,
do anything
what a
because I
dream.
couldn't.
What a dream.
Yeah, and then I bought this and I am over the moon about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta happen. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
music.
Hey, that's what happens when Eric Clapton's baby falls out a window.
Hey, without that baby dying, I don't know where I'd be.
Do you think there's a direct correlation to that situation and then Evan Weiss getting into playing music?
No, but I think there's a direct correlation between that and my income today.
Oh boy! All right, well, we're just hard cut it there.
The dots are
All
there.
right,
Connect them, baby.
we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, be good. Drive fast, take chances, turn left on red, vote blue no matter who.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. To end the podcast, Evan Weiss.